de nuevo, hermanos y hermanas. Ganshi ni dwe wo yi shang da ganzo ganshing chu. Sana maging oke ang araw mo. Meredena chata. Proactai gracias deo. I have a few topics I would like to discuss this evening. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I understand my information is deep and requires time to absorb, and I appreciate the time that you spent trying to absorb some of these peaceful perspectives. I do have some stories from connecting within my community using language that I would like to share, and I would like to have an open discussion regarding meditation. But first, conscious eating. First, overeating. Overeating is a serious issue. It is common for people that overeat to not be able to acknowledge the issue or not be able to be honest with themselves about if they're overeating or not. I strongly encourage you to be honest with yourself if you know you are overeating. Here are some tips to curb overeating. I would consider these conscious eating tips because they're conscious decisions made around what is best for your health as a human being, but practical and reasonable to what you live today. Because I don't know what you live today. I only know what I live. That's the peace. That's the peace. That's the peace. That's the peace talking. Everyone knows that drinking water is essential for optimum health as a human being. Drinking water throughout the day, especially if you feel like you're getting hunger sensations when you feel like you shouldn't be hungry. For example, if you ate like 2 hours ago and you're hungry again, you shouldn't need to eat 2 hours after you ate if you ate a meal. So you should consider what you ate, why it's not keeping you full, and if you eat every 2 or 3 hours, you're overeating. If you drink water regularly throughout the day, you will find that a lot of those illogical hunger sensations will go away because what you may be identifying as a hunger sensation for food could also be your body dehydrating. But another thing that does is it pushes other less healthy choices of drinks right out of the option list. A lot of people find that drinks are easier to give up. For example, I know a lot of people that gave up drinking soda pop with ease, and I know people that gave up energy drinks, although a little bit harder due to the addictive qualities. They still were able to cut that, and they were still eating whatever they ate, but they started to develop a little bit more of a consciousness to what they did do. Pomegranate juice is well known for lots of great health benefits. I highly suggest you do some research on pomegranate juice. If you don't like the taste, you can water it down. It doesn't have to be every day, but small dose of pomegranate juice every day can do wonders. Briefly, pomegranate juice is going to relax all of your veins and your nerves and your muscles, all that kind of stuff within your body will get relaxed when you consume pomegranate regularly. Obviously, feeling relaxed in your veins and your blood flow is essential in preventing heart attacks and strokes and all kinds of blood clot related fatalities. I know a lot about mushrooms. And I'm not talking about drug mushrooms. I'm talking about the healthy mushrooms. I'm not really comfortable talking about it on camera at this time, but one piece of advice I would like to offer in reference to mushrooms is the white button mushroom is grown without light and picked early like a baby for manufacturing reasons. We know how important money is, but that's the deal with the white button mushroom. So they're most common because they're cheapest and they're fastest, but that also means they have close to no nutrients in them. And if you can even choose the cremini, which looks exactly the same, but it has a little bit of a brown top to it, that shade means it has vitamins and minerals and the vitamin D and stuff that you need in it. If you want to go a step further, you could take it up to the portobello. The portobello, the cremini, and the white button are all the exact same mushroom in different stages of development. The same can be said about the green to black olive and all the different colors of the bell peppers, starting at green being the baby and red being the most mature, therefore the most tasty and the most healthy. If you are interested in conscious eating, thank you very much for your interest in your own health, and thank you for your interest in my perspectives on conscious eating. I would like to have an open discussion about meditation. It's my understanding that meditation is not something that a lot of people do. However, it's also in my understanding that meditation is essential for us as humans to develop our own degree of inner peace. You're not asleep, but you're not really aware of your surroundings because you're spending your mental energy inside, focusing on thoughts and visions that you have within yourself that have absolutely nothing to do with the physical reality around you. This is time that you have to prioritize for you. Nobody's going to do it for you, and nobody is going to prioritize it for you. You have to do it for yourself. It doesn't have to be really time consuming. It's very customizable, but if you're a beginner, I suggest you allow yourself some more time in the beginning until you get down a bit of a routine. It is a practiced skill, so the longer you do it and the more you get down for yourself, the easier to get. That's why now I can set aside 45 minutes a day to try to meditate and do my thing. I'm not always successful, but I always try. Always trying is part of being successful. One thing I would like to suggest is if you're a beginner, make sure you keep your eyes closed, because that helps you focus on the inside and what's going on in your mind and inside of yourself. Be aware of whatever energy, emotional energy that comes up, but you know you're meditating, you're in a clean, empty space, you know you're safe, so whatever energies that may come, even if they're unpleasant, just let them happen. You know you're okay. If you reject those things and you think that you're going to be positive all the time, well, you're going to cause a lot of problems for yourself by not acknowledging the negative energies of the human body. And that consciously choosing to think about something else is part of developing the mental strength of meditation. It's well in my understanding that a regular meditation routine is essential for us as humans to develop inner peace. Language development. I would like to start by reminding you that you don't need to be fully fluent to have fluent conversations and enjoy other languages. It's not reasonable to think you would go from not knowing a language to being fully fluent, and you'd be robbing yourself of the experience of learning the language. As you develop language skills, it becomes more fun and less like work because you understand more. The bulk of the work is in the beginning. But once you get rolling with it, you're well on your way. I had an opportunity to meet a Mandarin mother and her daughter. I would guess the daughter was about 8. When they first came in, 我对他们说你好. They were pretty surprised. They were happy to speak Mandarin with me. But the best part of the conversation was when I first came out of the kitchen to speak to them. And I got to talk to the daughter. 她对我说，你会说普通话吗？我对她说，是的，你能听懂我说话吗？她对我说，Wow, how? It's nice to get full Mandarin encouragement from her daughter. She did discuss a little bit with me about her daughter and language. You know, they haven't been in this country for very long, and I didn't know them well enough to ask any details. But they didn't have any problem with their daughter speaking Mandarin and English. They both spoke excellent English and Mandarin to me. 我明白，没有问题。我很高兴认识他们。Thank you for your interest in language development, and thank you all for learning English and helping us connect our world peacefully. But with that said, tiyan sa yiwan, mujhe jana chahi, e feristo yaton endi oferanshu. Kapayapaan at pagmamahal sa lahat. Gracias a Dios de nuevo. Bonum noctis.
Freaking out.
Hola de nuevo, amigos. Espero que tu día esté yendo bien. Extraña a mis hijos, pero estoy vivo, estoy bien. Gracias nuevamente por su interés y gracias a Dios por otro día. Estoy ocupado, por supuesto. I might get to see my son today. I do. That will take priority, of course. If not, all these things will be done. I've been hauling ass this morning, trying to get responsibilities out of the way to free that time up. But if that doesn't become an opportunity because he's busy, yo entiendo. I'll be here in the studio. Thanks again to all those interested in my life's work. Los amo a todos. Right now, my focus, as far as the studio goes, is making some space on my computers and doing what I have to do on that end so I can finish up the comedic piece to send to America. Again, I'm very thankful for the opportunity to post that video, maybe sharing some memories and some good laughs with some brothers and sisters from America. But with that said, estoy ocupado, tengo que ir, come bien y siéntete bien hoy. Paz, amor y positividad a todos. Muchas gracias a Dios de nuevo. Un amor. Cuídate, amigos.
Freaking out.
Salve omnis. Spero de bene. Tibi gratias ago procura. Ti amo omnis. I'm back in the studio, and I'm going to be working on clearing up the computers and piecing together some of the comedic piece for our brothers and sisters down in America. Over the next couple hours while I'm working in the studio, I'm planning on doing a few categorized postings to share in the enjoyment and honor some of my favorite art that's come out of America over the last 40 years. There is no doubt about it. I've listened to more American artists and watched more American entertainment than anywhere in the world throughout my life. But with that said, estoy ocupado, tengo que ir. Gracias nuevamente por su interés. Dios bendiga America. Gracias a Dios. Cuídate, amigos.
Not merely peace in our time, but peace in all time.
早上好，为这一天感谢上帝。In my opinion, you should make time every day to thank God for your life and then live it. It's not a really time-consuming thing. And if it's something that you don't do, it probably sounds like a crazy thing to do. If it's something that you do, you understand why I'm suggesting others do it. If you acknowledge the presence of your own spirituality, it will increase the quality of your own lifespan. If you deny your own spirituality, it's going to cause a lot of confusion for you internally, because whether you admit it or not, you are a human being and you have spirituality in you. A suggestion I would like to make is 10 seconds. Take 10 seconds out of your day, close your eyes, think about your life broadly, think about the things that you have, that you're happy that you have. Consider that at one point you didn't have those things. Think about how you're going to die. not in an upsetting way, just in an accepting way. You know you cannot live forever. It's not a realistic thing to think about. So just accept it. So in those 10 seconds, just close your eyes, go inside, and think about your life. Be thankful for your life, and don't say anything, just think about it. When those 10 seconds are over, say thank God for my life, and go about your day. And if you're not doing it at all now, and you start doing it even a couple times a week, well, that's how lifestyles form. You got to create a habit first, and then it's a lifestyle. If you're doing it every day and feeling the benefits of thanking God for your life a little bit every day, well, then you've developed a lifestyle, and you'll probably want to help others discover the same quality of living. 这是你的生活. So, do what you do. I'm trying to help you be a human. And there's a storm coming our way. I need to do some preparing. So I need to walk to some supplies and spend some hours getting ready for that. Once I get back home, I'll have some time to do advance in the studio. 谢谢你的关注，我爱你们。我必须吃，今天吃得好，保持乐观，度过美好的一天。再见。Namaste dostan. Mia sakte kitanya vadaru. Apkie se hai. Me zinda hun. Aaj ke liye bhagwan ka shukr hai. Me acha hun. I would like to take this opportunity to speak further about the Indian languages and English in hopes of helping those people cross languages more smoothly. Thank you again for your interest in language development. If you're local to me, this could be useful to you because we are flourishing with brothers and sisters from India here now. And we're, of course, thankful for the blessing of diversity. In that comes an interest in language. With India comes a lot of language. The languages of India are very much so geographically based. We have a lot of Malayalam speakers here now, and that is mostly down towards the southern parts of India. The Hindi speakers are more centralized with the Punjabi speakers. Because of that, a lot of the Malayalam speakers never ended up learning Hindi, but they can still understand English. Actually, they face a similar struggle as Mandarin because it is known as one of the more difficult Indian languages to learn. So people don't generally learn it if they don't have to. However, I would like to remind you, we do have a lot of those speakers locally, and there is no language that you can't learn if you're dedicated enough to learn it. All language learning is just exposure and persistence. So you may want to give Malayalam a try. We do have a lot of Punjabi here, and Punjabi is very connected to Hindi. I'm able to help brothers and sisters from India connect with just Indian languages, but use English to do so, and they're very accustomed to that. Once again, when a people are officially bilingual by majority, they just develop a more mature language understanding. They're happy to use English when they have to. They don't always have to. However, some of them just like speaking English. It's not a competition. English is quick. English is good. One of the biggest challenges of learning English is how fast it is. When you're an English speaker and you go to other languages, one of the biggest struggles is to slow down your talking. Inadvertently, all those people that are learning English have to speed up. So, just something to keep in mind. A lot of the Hindi brothers and sisters that were kind enough to speak to me openly about language have talked to me about the concept of Hinglish. And it does make a lot of sense to me as someone that looked at the languages. Hindi is changed from its initial state because all languages do with time, but Hindi had so many different languages speaking it as a second language. It had so many other influences going into it, but English was a really big influence. And when you're translating your Indian languages to English, it's very common that Hindi is closer to the usage and the practical structures that you're used to in English than a lot of the other Indian languages. Dhanyavad is obviously a little bit more to say than thanks. When you're going to other languages from English, it's very common that you have to feel like you're speaking a little bit more. But you kind of are. That's one of the great things about English. It's quick as it's good in that way, and that is one of the things that other people like about it. Their mother tongues are who they are, so they have to speak it, and they want to speak it, and they will speak their mother tongues. But with that said, Aapki sahayata ke liye dhanyavad. Angrezi seekhne ke liye dhanyavad. Mujhe jana chahi. Acha khao, acha mahsus karo. Andar ke shanti. Persi Bhagwan ka shukr hai. Alvida. Kalimera Adelphia Kiedelfes. El piso nakimiti kiskala. Ime karos. Efaristo politontio hiasimera kia efaristo yaton endia feranshu. Sasa capo olus. Spudazo eliniki golosa. Obviously. Exero ime kalos milontas elinika. Ine finete fisco. Chintian xiao wu hui hui dao putonghua. 每个人都懂我真的很喜欢说普通话，我不流利，我想成为，我每天学习，我知道我在进步，我能听到，但你会说普通话吗？我有个问题，我的语气怎么样？我很担心，我知道我需要时间，在这感谢你的帮助。Owning people.You own no one, and no one owns you. If you do not agree with that statement, you do not have peace. Individual peace is the only peace available to each individual during their lifespan. You have to understand that you own no one, and no one owns you. And I would like to elaborate. 在这感谢你的时间，我正在努力帮助。不要混淆. Even when it comes to your children, you don't own them, you guide them. Nobody owns them but them. If they don't feel that way and they don't know that, they will not develop inner peace either. We're talking about true inner peace because we are working towards world peace. You guide them and you have maybe about the first 20 years of their lives, and then they're going to do their own thing. And even approaching that time, They're starting to do more and more of their own thing as they get older. You don't own them, but you try your best to guide them in the best way you know how. When it comes to significant others, and I understand this is a sensitive topic, but I am sensitive, is that you can need the other individual to maintain a lifestyle that you've built that you really enjoy, but you should not depend on that individual for your peace. Needing someone to maintain a lifestyle is not the same as needing someone to maintain your peace. If you both have peace, you separate peacefully. If you both have peace, you're cool alone. And if you both have peace, you really radiate when you are together. You need to have the ability to separate the difference between needing another individual for your inner peace and needing another individual to maintain a lifestyle in which you really enjoy, because it's not the same thing. Once you learn how to be peaceful with yourself, you learn how to be peaceful with others. So I also encourage you to do internal work and get grip on your own emotional energies. Eat correctly for a human being. Remain peaceful amongst yourselves. And with that said, Filipino Figo, 感谢你对我一生的工作感兴趣。Chiappari, 我爱你们。Trote carai, chiapparamente ICO daxe. Na ehis mia morphi mera. Elini happy kiethetiki anarase olus. 再次感谢上帝 and Dio Yotora。你好，朋友们，这就是普通话练习，谢谢你的关注。如果你会说普通话，谢谢你的帮助。你今天过得好吗？我希望你一切都好。对不起，我的日子很艰难，但没关系。感谢上帝的奋斗和感谢上帝的力量。我很好，现在我到疗法很棒，感谢台湾艺术家，我爱你们。我有话要说，我会说英语，我知道每个人都懂英语。如果英语不是你的母语，感谢学习英语。My mother died when I was 19. She was 48. It was before either of my children were born, so they never had the opportunity to meet. My mother is still with me because I'm still with her. She never left me because I never left her. I still talk to her on occasions. If something happens and I feel like I would really like to tell her, I just include that in my prayer time. I talk to my children about her, and although my children have never met her, they know a lot about her and her character. My children and I have something kind of special when it comes to my mom. For me, I was seeing a lot of hearts everywhere. Like a window would fog up in a perfect heart, or I'd take a pickle out of a jar and it would be shaped like a heart. It was just in really weird, unexplainable places. And although it doesn't really mean anything, after a couple instances, I started to play with my mind a bit. It made me think of my mom every time I seen the hearts. That happened for a while before I told anybody. The first person I told was my son, who is now a teenager. And as we talked about it, he started pointing out hearts to me that he saw. I didn't see them until he pointed them out because I told him the story. So he and I had that, and we still do. And when we see hearts, it makes us think of my mother, which is a wonderful blessing to me. It's my mother and my children, and they never got to meet. But that's my son now, because of me sharing and including my mother in my life, even though she's gone. I had a second son 8 years later. And since all that was going on with me and my older son, of course, I felt compelled to tell my younger son. Now, my younger son has a very active imagination, but he was seeing a lot of hearts. And he was pointing them out to me too. My younger son has even brought me all kinds of rocks that he has found that have been shaped like hearts. He wasn't with me. He was with his mother or somebody else. And he'd find rocks shaped like hearts, and he would save them for me. And one day, there was a big one. I said, oh, wow, thank you, son. We talked about it for a moment, and I talked about my mom. He felt good about helping me. I could tell. So that was nice for me, too. And then he proceeded to tell me that he found it on the beach, and he carried it up the beach and carried it back to the car by himself because he wanted to give it to me. We have that because I never left my mom. To elaborate on that, when people die, they don't have a choice. Their body has to go. You don't get new experiences with them, but you still have all the old experiences with them. You can just totally let go of the bad ones because they don't matter anymore. You can just get a little jar and collect all kinds of good memories about that loved one, revisit them, talk to people about them. If you have a family gathering like Thanksgiving or something, talk about family members that aren't with you, but not in a sad way, in a rejoiceful way, that they were part of your family and you love them. And if you can continue to include them, it will help increase your own spirituality. You have to be very honest and reasonable with yourself. Humans have very active imaginations, and you don't want to be illogical in your spirituality. You want to remain grounded, but you don't want to ignore the fact that you have spirituality in you, because as a human being, it's very important that you acknowledge that in order to develop your own degree of inner peace. You can't develop inner peace if you don't really know yourself well, and if you don't fully accept yourself for who you are. I hope those are some peaceful thoughts to help someone out there that may be missing a loved one. I encourage you to close your eyes and go within yourself and picture their face and picture whatever it is that you remember that was wonderful about that person, and let yourself experience that person on your own, within yourself, because that's how you keep loved ones alive, and that's how you keep them with you even after they die. 天色已晚，我必须去。感谢你对我一生的工作感兴趣，对所有人的和平与爱。再次感谢上帝。睡得好，晚安。
To have life and to have its pleasure, you must at the same time let go of it.
早上好，我爱你们，为这一天感谢上帝。我希望你一切都好，我很好，我在听懂你真。感谢你对我一生的工作感兴趣。我有话要说，如果有人问我为什么要学普通话，我喜欢回答。为什么不？我知道他们不明白，但 it's just funny to me. Anyway, 我在工作，我必须去。再次感谢你的支持。今天吃得好，保持乐观，度过美好的一天。对所有人的和平与爱。再次感谢上帝。再见。早上好，el piso naki miti kiskala, proacta y gladius deo. Los amo a todos. Apke interes que shukriya. I don't want to say too much because I am in poor energies. What do you think would happen to a rabbit if it started eating meat like a bear? What do you think would happen to that rabbit's health? the rabbit is not likely to die right away because it is still substance in that animal's stomach. It's not the proper substance, so it's not going to die right away, but it's not going to have good health, and its quality of life is going to decline. The rabbit knows that, and the rabbit isn't going to eat meat. And if a bear decided he was going to quit meat and just eat vegetables all the time, well, he wouldn't die because there's substance in his stomach. And he wouldn't experience the same lack of health that the rabbit would feel from eating the meat. But he would get very weak. He would not be able to do bear things because he wouldn't have bear strength from bear diet. If the rabbit wasn't quite dead, but feeling very unhealthy, and the rabbit just said, fuck it, and started eating the rabbit food that God wanted the rabbit to eat, that rabbit's body, with enough time and persistence and dedication, has the ability to completely heal that rabbit. The food does. That rabbit does not need any kind of medicine. That rabbit needs the proper food for the rabbit. With the proper food for the rabbit, that rabbit will heal. The bear may get very weak, but if he survives and he started eating properly for a bear, well, he would be able to be a strong, happy bear in the wilderness. You correlate that as you will. That's all I'm saying about it. I've had my breakfast, so I've already had my manganese and a couple of the minerals that I know I'm going to need. I also understand that the minerals I eat now can activate vitamins later in the day or even tomorrow. But after about, say 36 hours, you're going to want to replenish your minerals. But with that said, Tango ge ir, ganchen ni dui wo yi shang da ganzo gancheng chu, zai se mahauko kayong lahat. Tulo te kala kia parlamente ay Scio daxe. Fria do shelik de la. Gracias Deo. Konnichiwa. Apke dinki sobita. Waza riza hanhao. I hope you can say the same. Proactai gracias Deo. I would like to have an extension on my honesty talk. It is possible for an individual to honestly believe that what they're telling you is 110% correct, honest, true, and find out that they are wrong. In that case, in the moment, that person was not lying. They were wrong, and there was a difference. A lot of people have a hard time noticing the difference between being wrong and just lying. And it roots back to the initial moment of the words being spoken. And what I mean by that is, in the moment, if you know something is not true, or you know that you're deceiving somebody in some way, and you say it anyway, and you do it anyway, and you follow through with that, that's what you do. It doesn't matter what happens after that. You can justify, you can do this, and all these other things are going to happen from that. I'm not talking about that. We're coming back to that moment when that initiated. And no matter what happens after that, in that moment, it's still a lie. I have to say something that, to my knowledge, is an intuitional understanding as a human being. Lying is harmful to all human mentality. The reason that it is harmful to your mentality as a human being is to stop you from doing it. My logistics on that is, when you stop doing it, you as an individual feel better. Things in your life start to get better for you. And you start to realize that your own honesty is very important. I am not attacking anybody. I'm speaking for peace and love. Again, it is important for me to note that your bodily energies are your own responsibility. You do have to pass some off in order to get it out of yourself. I, once again, will suggest you try talking to God about it, but you do your own thing. Ultimately, you need to get that energy out. I do suggest you acknowledge your own spirituality in a positive, peaceful way. It is good news. And one more thing before I go. 谢谢你的时间. I am working on putting together a video that discusses in a little better detail some of the food products that I've been able to develop with this conscious eating plan that I have been working on for longer than you would believe. In it, I'm going to discuss my life-saving pizza. I don't want to say too much about it right now. I shot some footage in the kitchen the other day when I was putting it together. I still have the footage on my phone. I'm planning on getting to it. I did get some good clips while I was in the kitchen. I got caught up dancing a little bit. But I managed to stay focused. I did get some silly shots. Again, 再次感谢你对我异乡的工作感兴趣。当天是夜晚，我必须去 Kimisuka Popse. Paz, amor y positividad a todos. Salamat ulit sa Diyos. Kalinita.